chatting with the author of the Vampire Academy series, Richelle Mead!
Hi, I'm Richelle Mead.
Hello! So as you may or may not know, Richelle Mead has a new series, a new mysterious series coming out next year. I was given the opportunity to play a quick game of 20 questions with her. Fun, lightning questions to get a better idea of what we can expect from this new series next year. So without further ado, let's do it! 20 questions with Richelle Mead! Is our new lead gonna be male or female?
Lead is female. Her name is Adelaide. She is a lot of fun. I have had a good time writing her.
Adelaide, I like it. I think we're all wondering, will there be vampires?
No.
Interesting. Will there be werewolves?
No.
Interesting. Throwing us for a curveball, Richelle. In your last two series, there have been 6 books. How many books long is this story?
This story is 3 books long, and what's really cool about this is actually they aren't continuous, so it's not like book 1 tells the story, cliffhanger, it's continued in book 2, etc., etc. Each book is actually the story told from a different point of view. There are 3 friends, and each book pretty much contains the same story from her point of view. So you can pick up any one of the books and read the story, and you don't even have to know what's happening to the other girls. But you're really going to want to, because by the time you've read all 3 books, you're going to know a lot of cool stuff, and you're going to have this huge picture of everything that's gone on in the world. Because if you've read one book, you might be wondering, like, wow, why was her best friend acting so strange? And then by the time you get to the other girl's book, you'll be like, oh, I totally get it, and her best friend should have been so much more sympathetic, because if she'd known what was happening, she would have totally understood. So there's a whole bunch of cool stuff going on like that. And what's really great too is since you can read them out of order, you can very easily lend them to your friends. So that's going to be great too, because I know you will buy them all when they all come out, and you aren't going to have to worry about lending them in the right order. You can just totally hand them out all around, and it's really going to simplify things that way. So I'm glad I've made it easier.
Damn, that's actually really interesting. I don't think I've seen that in any YA series that I've read, at least in recent time. And the only thing coming to mind is this movie Vantage Point. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Vantage Point. It was a really interesting film about someone trying to assassinate the president, and I really enjoyed the way it was told, which was we saw from someone's point of view, and then it would rewind and we'd see someone else's point of view, and they did that like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, and that's what the series is gonna be like. That sounds so interesting, and that means it's probably gonna be mysterious. Oh, very cool. Next essential question, will there be a love triangle?
There is no love triangle in this. There is a guy who would very much like it to be a love triangle, and he tries really hard to kind of do it, but it mostly stays a line. There's 2 people, they like each other, and they're really not letting anyone else in. This guy gives it a good shot, but really, you can tell from the beginning he doesn't have much of a chance.
Will the main character have a cell phone?
The main character does not have a cell phone. She doesn't really have a pager, a telegraph, or anything, and that's largely because there's no electricity in this world, so that kind of rules anything like that out.
Ooh, dang! So can you tell us when in time this story takes place?
The story takes place in a fantasy world that I've created, so it's really kind of out of time from anything we know, because it's not even taking place in our world.
So we know there's no vampires, we know there's no werewolves, I gotta cover all my ground here. Will there be time travel involved?
No.
How old is our main character?
Adelaide, our main character, is 18 years old.
Does Adelaide roll with a crew?
She does roll with a crew, literally sometimes, since they ride around in carriages a lot. Like I was saying before, each book is told from a different girl's perspective. So the first book is Adelaide's, and then the other 2 books are each told by one of her best friends. So we get to find out about each of her crew's stories. Adelaide herself, she's very posh and polished. She's also kind of a con artist. And then her other best friends, one of them's a really kind of tough scrapper kind of a girl, and the other one is super neurotic but really gets things done. And so it's kind of fun to see how they all interact together.
I love that they literally roll. They sound like a fun crew to hang with. Are there parents that are heavily involved with the plot?
We don't really see so much of their parents, and that's because of the nature of what these girls are involved in. The story really focuses around this organization that takes these sort of poor girls who come from hard lives and trains them up to be educated and very cultured so that they can go off and make marriages with rich, upper-class, successful men. And so these girls are kind of taken away from their homes and their parents. They can keep in touch if they want to, but for the most part, the books follow them as they go off to their their education and then off to new lands to hopefully find these husbands of theirs.
Did you draw from any myths for this series?
Not so much, really. Since this world is inspired a little bit by, like, some of our history, you see, like, some heretical religious stuff from American and English history pops up, but there's really not a lot of mythological stuff.
Is this gonna be a series where a lot of people die on us?
See, that's like kind of trying to ask, is there a happy ending? Is there a sad ending? People are always trying to get that stuff out of me, and I never give it up. You gotta read the book if you want to know that.
Okay, so on a scale from Adrian to Dimitri, how dark and brooding can we expect our love interest to be?
You know, I'm kind of making a whole new scale here, and the guy in this book, he's kind of on his own scale. He's kind of a, I hesitate to use the word con artist, but he's kind of a guy who's used to sort of talking people into what he wants and getting his own way. It's not like in a sinister way. He's kind of a charmer. He smiles at you and you're like, oh, okay, whatever you want. So he's in his own new category. So you're gonna have to see how you feel about this new scale.
So it sounds like we're kind of getting a Sawyer-esque character. If you watched Lost, Sawyer, I like it. Before I forget, covering all my magic ground here. Does anyone in this series have magical abilities?
You're trying really hard here with the vampires and the werewolves, and there's nothing magical or paranormal in this series, I'm afraid. Probably the most supernatural thing going on is how often these girls can manage to wear corsets. I mean, that's the craziest thing to me. But really, that's it.
Okay. I know you said it takes place in a fantasy world that you created, but is that fantasy world the United States? Like, is it based off the United States? Or is it based off of culture from a different part of the world?
The girls grow up in a land that is kind of supposed to be inspired by Elizabethan England, and the new world they go off to is kind of like colonial America. So it's got kind of that resemblance to America. You'll see like some inspiration of old Massachusetts, Jamestown, and there's even some throwbacks to the Old West and gold claims, which are at different periods of time from Jamestown, obviously, but there's definitely inspiration taken from that.
Can you give us 3 adjectives that best describe our new lead, Adelaide?
Ooh, I would have to say brave, smart, and crafty. She definitely has to be crafty and think outside the box to get what she needs.
When can we expect book 1?
The first book in the series comes out April 12, 2016. So you're definitely going to want to make sure you mark your calendar for that one. So go ahead and do that right now. I'll wait for you. Go ahead.
Should I leave? Go. What's the title gonna be?
Book 1 is called The Glittering Court.
The Glittering Court! Gotta say, I'm a big fan of glitter and quartz. It sounds so sparkly. The cover has been released! Can you walk us through this cover?
The cover of The Glittering Court, Book 1, has our heroine, Adelaide Bailey, and she is the first girl whose story we hear. She's kind of the crafty one who can charm people and talk them into things that she wants. And she's there and she looks fabulous.
Damn, she looks so glamorous and mysterious. I'm getting a sort of casket vibe. Are you feeling that? I'm also feeling Zoe Deutsch vibe. She looks a little like Zoe Deutsch to me. But back to the casket thing. Could there be a con where maybe she fakes her death? I don't know. I'm excited. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the cover, on what you think this new series is gonna be like. Thank you so much, Richelle, for answering my questions today. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Christine. I'm @XTeenLay on Twitter and Instagram. I make videos every Tuesday. I'll see you guys next time.